Hey guys, so we're going to put another use on the Semogue C5 Torga premium boar brush. I've had him soaking for several minutes, so he is going to be ready for action. I'm going to be using the open comb version of the Game Changer head, and this is the more mild option they have, the 68 gap. We're going to be using Stirling Bay Rum. This is a little bit of the soap that I pressed into an Elizabeth Street soap container, or cream, and so it's the Bay Rum, and I chose it because it's a very popular Stirling choice, and I can't remember how this shaved for me, so I want to try it again. And then I'm going to be using the Treet Platinum, the fourth most popular blade that was recently selected by you guys on my Google form that I put out. And this one's been used about 9 times. And this is what the Treet Platinum, at least mine, looks like. So we'll load it up. I've got, if you can see, I've got some hairs flowing out the back of my head there. I was in a baseball cap all day long, hanging out at the took my kids to a community pool and stuff, and just chilling out and all that. So I've got a bad case of hat hair. All right, so there we go. The blade is loaded in. It's got, in this model, this head, it's got very good support from the base, from the underside of the blade. So it's not going to vibrate very much, give you a nice smooth controlled shave without too much audio. Some people do like the audio, I don't, at least not much of it. And I think we're good to go. I took a 1/4 teaspoon, and this is a little bit less than a full 1/4 teaspoon, but that should be no problem for the Stirling because it's a very economical soap and you're going to get a lot of lather for your money on this one. So this should still give me plenty of passes of lather. Now I have beefed about this location and the lack of air conditioning. Well, this weekend they put in air conditioning. They replaced the broken unit. How cool is that? Well, then the landlord told me he was going to have to talk to me, and so I'm wondering if he's going to try to bump up the rent. We'll see. All right, so we smushed the sample, the scooped amount, and this probably came from one of the, 2-ounce samples, 1-ounce samples from Stirling, and that's what filled this tub. And that's often enough to give you about a month of shaves, is what I'm hearing. I'm the kind of person who uses a sample 1 time, maybe 2, occasionally 3, but almost never. And then I put it in a box and save it for later. Other people like to take a sample and use it all up until it's gone, and why not? You do that if you want. In those cases, what you can do is take another bowl, a loading bowl or an old tub that you've emptied, and press that sample in. If it's one of these Stirling types, or you press that sample into the bottom of that bowl, and now that's your tub that you're loading from. You probably shouldn't lather with that bowl, because then you keep adding soap to your lather, and at some point you do need to stop doing that and then work on getting the water right. But that can be your loading bowl. But I just scoop it because I use these samples in more limited quantities. All right, so now I think we're ready to go. I'm going to wet my face, and then we will start working that soap into the lather. All right, so there we go. I have shaken a lot of the water out of the brush, so it's just lightly wet now. And now let's start up and see what we get. Now, from the dry puck, It did not instantly become a Bay Rum that smelled like it was one that I like. I definitely get some of the clove and the allspice type scents that I'm not a fan of. I can see why people might like it, but that's just not me. So already it's looking pretty good. Once it kind of evens out a little bit, you feel like you're making some headway at getting that soap off the bottom of your bowl, you can take and start adding water. 1 teaspoon. I'm excited because I've finally managed to put enough uses, at least I'm close, on my 80266 or whatever that Omega bore is that I have. And this one, I'm getting very close to having it start to be able to be used with the other bores that I have. My so-called borathon. And after just 1 teaspoon of soap, looking very good. I'm sorry, 1 teaspoon of water. So now there's 2. So once I get this brush to catch up with the others, I can start bringing them into the rotation. I've had this sample for quite some time, but it has been in a sealed container, so I feel like it shouldn't have degraded very much. And in fact, the scent is pretty strong. I'd say this is a 6 out of 10. I can definitely smell it. It's coming up to my nose right now from the bowl down here. It is weakening a little bit, and that's good. I didn't want it to be quite so punchy. Let's add another teaspoon. All right. Got a pretty elastic lather. Look at that, right? That is right around where I like it. Just mix it up a little bit more. Make sure we don't have any wet spots, dry spots, all that. And get my face just a little wet. We can start working it up. No pre-shave, no shower beforehand today. No washing of the face. So the first pass is going to have to do that job. Scrubby little brush here. Not a whole lot of the tips have split yet, but it's still not giving any kind of, brush burn or irritation or scratchiness at all. Pretty comfortable in general. Let's add a little bit of water to the brush here. So, what kind of Bay Rum are we smelling now? it is a little bit too spicy for me. The cloves and those types of, I like sweeter bay rums. So this one, not for me. This feels, look at my face there. We see all those tracks and textures and things like that. Sometimes that's a sign that you need to keep adding some water. Yeah, that creamed it up a little bit more, softer cream, instead of quite having so much rigidity to it. And we've also spent enough time now, so it looks like, hey, 4 teaspoons pretty much. Spent enough time now with the lather on my face, so it's softened my beard, and it's also kind of conditioned my skin, bonded its slickness with my skin is the best way I know how to put it. It's the way it feels, and that's going to protect. That's going to give good glide for the razor. That's what we want. All right. Now, Gape is the video user who let me borrow this base plate. The 68 solid bar is too mild for me. I already tried it out. Now this is giving me a little bit of blade feel. Of course, it's not crisp and brand new, but I still think within a, the 9th, 10th use, it's going to tell me something about the blade. A little bit of blade feel here. And let me pause you while I do some rinses. My faucet is noisy. Light touch as always. This has definitely had some blades in it that were super smooth. This is not one of them. I definitely have some razors that this blade really excels in, and not this one. And I guess I should have said, when I was talking about excelling, I was talking about the smoothness and the comfort of the feel of the razor. What I really probably should have said was that directly, because I could end up at the end of the shave with an excellent close cut, and it's not uncomfortable at all. So it really, could be a very good shave. It all depends. But there are definitely other blades that have a better feel in this razor. All right, cross grain now. Of course, the second pass and third pass, everything after the first one will often be a lot more comfortable and smooth, since you are dealing with less hair coming off your beard. You may notice a little bit of pinkness here because, well, I was at the pool. I spent most of my time under the umbrella just watching the kids. One of those canopies that they have. I was glad we got there early to get one. All right, another rinse. So I published a recent kind of short video explaining the Austere August I don't know if it's a competition. Just a little thing some guys do. And one of the options that I was thinking about as you choose kind of one set of gear to use the whole month. Some people take the basic route and just use one soap all month, and so they can change their blade, their razor, their brush. That's fine. And that's going to be able to teach them some about their the soap. So they could vary different things about their routine and see how the same soap reacts. And so they could definitely learn a good bit from that. I usually pick the same set of gear and use it the whole month. I am leaning very strongly in my soap choice toward Martin de Condré, just to see how much product I use in a month, and then I could forecast and do the math and see how many months it would take me to use up that whole bin. What if it would take me 3 years to use up that bin? All of a sudden a $60 cost or a $40 cost for that doesn't seem that expensive per use, does it? I'm very curious as to the answer to that question. And I've heard from a few of you online who have similar curiosities. Another one of my big options that I'm looking at is fine accoutrements. I have wanted to do a usage test with their soap because it's one of my favorite bases. I love hard pucks. It performs so well, and the scents are really tremendous. One of my favorite scents is the Santal Absolute. But I like the Barbershop, which is American Blend. I like the Fresh Vetiver. I like the Green Vetiver. I like the Platinum, the Italian Citrus, the L'Orange Noir I tried recently. They're all just tremendous. And they represent a good value too. That little puck for about $13. Of course, now they're starting to migrate away from individual puck sales where you need to pay about $16 for the plastic tub with the puck in it. I guess just the puck by themselves, they just weren't selling, you know. So those, I think I've narrowed my soap down to those two choices. But I'm super curious about the MDC usage, and it's a great soap. I get a really nice lather from it, and so it would be enjoyable. I have the Vetiver scent. They don't have a large scent selection, and I found the Vetiver to be one that I really enjoyed. They've got Rose and Original, which has some notes in it that I don't like, and then they had Fougere, I believe, and I think I tried that one as well. I don't think I liked it as much as the Vetiver, but anyway. So the Vetiver is the option. So we'll see what happens. All right, so that's the third pass. Looks like a pretty good shave. Let me do a full rinse. Something I figured out today was if I choose in Austere August to do a usage test, then I'm going to need not to do a face lathering month. That's something else I considered. Whiskey Woods today from Clubman. I figured that would match with the Bay Rum. Tiny bit of stinging, but not very much at all. So yeah, this Bay Rum did turn out to be something that is not on the end of the Bay Rum spectrum where I like to be. I wish it were a little sweeter, but it is a pretty standard Bay Rum. And if you like the clove and the allspice type notes, then I think this is going to be a good option for you. Especially, it may be one of the best Bay Rum values out there. Because Stirling, if you bowl lather, you can get a lot more uses out of it because you're not washing that first pass concentrate down the drain. I can get 13 months out of a 5.8 ounce tub of Stirling. And so over a year of Bay Rum for $13.50 I think is an exceptional deal. And that is with 4 or 5 passes of lather each day done in a bowl. Nice, creamy, wet lathers. Not skimpy at all. Luxurious feeling even. So that's a good value. And yeah, this Whiskey Woods is mixing nicely with the Bay Rum. I like that. I like what it's doing to it. I think I did just end up to use about the four teaspoons of water. I do have about 2 passes left of lather, so a little bit less than that 1/4 teaspoon was about right. Happy with that. And now I know that, yeah, I'll probably, pass this Bay Rum sample on to somebody else because it's just not in my wheelhouse. Now, Stirling sandalwood is a sweet type of sandalwood. Wonder what happens if you were to add a sweet, mellow sandalwood and this Bay Rum together. I don't know. Just playing around, that could be a really neat combo. The sandalwood could mute the Bay Rum just a little bit, add a little smoothness to it. All right, well, that's another one. I think we're now on 10 uses on the Treet Platinum. So we've put it in a razor that has pretty good grip on the ends, on the blade edges with this open comb 68 Game Changer. And I put it in the Tatara yesterday. It's a little bit more audio, a little bit less support. Let's put it in maybe a carve tomorrow, or maybe a vintage Gillette Tech. We'll see what we can come up with for tomorrow to try for the Treet Platinum. So it doesn't seem to be a great match. It did a pretty good job. Comfort was reasonable. It didn't give me a great cut. It's kind of a shadow effect here. I don't really see length in any of the tips, which is good, but there is just kind of a shadow effect that's still in place with this one. Definitely, I have other options that cut closer and more comfortably. All right, so not a great match between the Open Comb Game Changer 68 and my skin and the Treet Platinum. Now, it may be the best combo of your life. That's how blades are so subjective. And so just because it doesn't work all that well for me, it doesn't mean that anything about how it might work for you. But folks ask for certain blades, and I figured it'd be fun to do them that way. All right. Yeah, I'm really liking the way the Whiskey Woods is taking the scent. It's modifying, it's smoothing out the spices in the Bay Rum to something that I kind of enjoy a little bit more. It's very rich. It's a heavy scent. So I'm glad the intensity of the Bay Rum wasn't any more than about a 6 out of 10. Otherwise, it would kind of get maybe a little obnoxious, maybe a little bit too much on you. And time for me to clean up. So here's the Torga C5 Premium Bore. After the shave, after a good towel stropping. There's one. Look at that little hair right there, all curvy and stuff. He is atypical. All right. See, it's got a lot of bristles in there. And so this doesn't feel empty. It doesn't feel very light on your face. You do get some density there. The tips are soft enough to be comfortable, but the knot here has some density at the base. And so you do kind of feel that as you're working it on your face. Now, how it's going to feel when we get tons of tip split, really looking forward to seeing that myself. All right, well, there we go. Hope there's been something good in this video for you. If you're looking on advice about the 68 open comb, I can tell you that the 68 solid bar is too mild for me in many cases. There were a few blades that worked well, but there were too many that didn't. However, this open comb is a little bit more aggressive, and so it does seem like it's coming a little bit closer into a zone where I might enjoy it more than the solid bar. But I have found a couple of blades that just didn't work all that well with it. But I have found a couple that were really terrific. And who knows, we'll keep playing with it, keep putting blades in it, and see what we discover. Thanks to Gabe for the loan. Very happy to be enjoying this razor. Thanks to him. And I believe I've told you about the soap well enough. You don't need to hear more about that and how the aftershave worked really well with today's scent blend. And the brush is kind of more the same, scrubby but comfortable. Looking forward to how it's going to change in the future. All right, guys, this is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care and have a good night.